That's a Donald Trump appointee to the bench saying that his determination was untethered from the facts, not based in reality. I'm going to do something here that I don't normally do. I don't do it very often, and that's read from a Rupert Murdoch publication, the New York Post. Over the weekend, Donald Trump tried to deploy the Oregon National Guard to Portland, again, as a publicity stunt, using troops as props in his culture war, his invasion of blue cities, his nonsense. And the reason I'm going to read from the New York Post is because they're just saying what it is, that he's now defying a court. He's defying a court order by sending troops in opposition, contrary to what a judge ordered. This is the headline from the New York Post. Trump defies federal court, sends 300 California National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon, on their way there now. This is the Rupert Murdoch owned, the Fox News sister media outlet that is saying Donald Trump, I'm glad I got the screenshot here because this headline will likely be changed. The contents of the article will very likely be changed after the fact because Donald Trump certainly is on the phone about this treachery that they're reporting the facts. Because Republicans don't want the narrative. They're feverishly trying to cover up the fact that Donald Trump has time and time again, just in these brief 9.5 months of being back in office, defied federal court orders, defied the United States Supreme Court itself. And in order, in some weird way to try to save face, they just don't mention it. They don't try to enforce their order. They let Donald Trump defy them because they themselves are cowards. Or maybe it's because they themselves want the agenda of Donald Trump followed through on. Let me do this, though. Let me tell you about the judge in this case that all the Republicans now are threatening. And Stephen Miller, this will be for what I talk about next, called this legal insurrection, a federal judge ruling against Donald Trump. But a federal judge, by the way, that Donald Trump himself appointed to the bench. This is a conservative. This is a Republican who was appointed to a position by George W. Bush, who worked for Ken Starr investigating the Clintons alongside Brett Kavanaugh. She's a dyed-to-the-wool Republican. But now they're calling this legal insurrection because when Donald Trump clearly, blatantly, brazenly violates the Constitution, oversteps the bounds of his authority as president of the United States, if you get ruled against, then that's insurrection. Right. We're going to go to Donald Trump and Stephen Miller about what is and what is not insurrection. Great. This is from the New York Post. President Trump on Sunday deployed 300 California National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon, defying a federal order blocking the move and prompting Golden State Governor Gavin Newsom to sue in response. Quote, after a federal court blocked his attempt to federalize the Oregon National Guard, Donald Trump is deploying 300 California National Guard personnel into Oregon, Newsom said in a post on Twitter, later calling the order un-American. Quote, they're on their way there now. We are taking this fight back to court. The public cannot stay silent in the face of such reckless and authoritarian conduct by the President of the United States. Newsom's fiery threat came hours after a federal judge temporarily halted the Trump administration from sending 200 Oregon National Guard troops to the quote-unquote war-ravaged city that has been under siege by anti-ICE agitators for more than 100 days straight. This gives you the dichotomy of what I'm talking about and why I read from this New York Post article, because they're on Donald Trump's side. They're calling Portland under siege from anti-ICE agitators. You mean American citizens who are exercising their First Amendment right under the Constitution to redress their government, to peaceably assemble and to protest, the freedom of speech. The fundamental underpinning of our rights is our right to free speech, political speech especially. unpopular speech especially. And they admit that Donald Trump is violating a federal judge's order. Last week, the commander-in-chief ordered Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to unleash all necessary troops to Portland and use full force to protect immigration authorities from domestic terrorists. Oregon immediately sued to block the president from deploying the troops. U.S. District Judge Karin Immergut, a Trump appointee, ruled Saturday that deploying active duty troops to Portland would not only violate the United States Constitution, but also defy federal law barring military involvement in domestic law enforcement. She added that Trump's order did not reflect the reality of the protests taking place at the immigration processing facility in South Portland. Quote, "This is from the judge. This is from the Republican judge. This is from the conservative judge. This is from the Trump-appointed judge. Overall, the protests were small and uneventful," she wrote in her ruling. Quote, "The president's determination was simply untethered to the facts." That's a Donald Trump appointee to the bench saying that his determination, the series of information that he took on board to make this decision was untethered from the facts, not based in reality, as he declares war on yet another American city. The area of unrest, if you even want to call it that, the area where there are protesters, is like a block or two area in the entire city, in the entire metropolitan area of Portland. It's not under siege by anti-ICE agitators. It's people who are expressing their opinion about the authoritarian power grab and the invasion of their city, the military occupation of their city, the Gestapo masked secret police that are kidnapping people from the streets, disappearing people without the benefit of due process guaranteed by the same Constitution that each one of these federal agents, these secret police goons, have sworn to protect. And now a Trump appointee is under threat, is under a terror campaign by the right wing to paint her as an insurrectionist because she did her job and ruled in accordance with her understanding of the Constitution, utilizing her power as a presidential appointee and a Senate-confirmed federal judge. But if you go against Donald Trump, there'll be hell to pay, up to and including your house being burned down, as was the case in South Carolina, which I'm going to talk about next. Before I do that, though, I'd love to have your input in this conversation. You can talk about it in the comments wherever you're watching the video, whether that's the Dollemore Daily Facebook page, where I hope you've liked and followed. That is free. Or on YouTube, where you can subscribe also for free. Trying to get to 1.5 million subscribers. And with your help, we can get there. I would appreciate it. You could also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.